Jaylen Warren,
needed.
58% available against the Jets. Warren coming off a week against the Raiders in his return. He had 6 carries, only 7 yards. He caught 3 passes for 11 yards. But, Jay, we've seen this Jets front is having a lot of problems right now. The Steelers are probably going to come into this game very run-heavy.
Yeah, I don't think this Jets front is solvable with the personnel that they have. The Bills were just running on them at will despite not having any receivers who can separate. And theoretically, the Jets could have adjusted for that. Jaylen, I know Najee Harris had the big game, but Najee Harris just hasn't looked great until he played what is left of the Las Vegas Raiders.
He had one big play. He had one unbelievable play that sort of made his day. If you look at the snaps, right, 34% of the snaps for Warren in his first game back. He was targeted on 33% of his routes. I would argue Najee Harris is actually a sell high.
Definitely.
And I'm interested. I think Jaylen Warren's the better running back. They're both going to be involved, but it's going to be a run-heavy offense. Looks like Justin Fields solidified his starting role for a little bit longer as well, which helps the run game because of the mobility of Fields. So Warren, who's out there in 58% of the leagues, I like him, by the way. Jets, Giants, bye, Commanders are the next 4 for the Steelers. So all teams that you can run on.
Our next running back, Sean Tucker, he's available in 99% of leagues. Nobody saw this coming from Sean Tucker. Just a monster Week 6 against the Saints. And his coach, Todd Bowles, spoke about the great performance this week.
Worthy of him making this kind of a 3-headed monster at running back for you guys now?
It's definitely worthy of him making this a 3-headed monster. He took advantage of his opportunities. He ran away from some tackles, some linebackers. He ran through the hole. He cut back. He made some great plays. He caught the ball well out of the backfield. So that gives us 3-headed monsters.
By the way, that's a bad question because what the question should have been is, could he replace Rachaad White? And instead whoever asked that question gave Bowles a way to avoid the question, saying like, could have. In essence,
they're all going to play.
They're all going to play, whereas. Easily,
not enough touches for all 3 to play.
I don't know that there's enough touches. It's an explosive offense, and the positives here are there's only 2 teams on a bye, and they play Baltimore. You don't love the matchup, so I think you're probably avoiding the Tampa Bay running back game this week if you can, and you just sort of see how it plays out, see how the snaps and the usage and the touches go on Monday night, because hopefully you don't need any of them. But certainly Sean Tucker, given the explosiveness, given the fact that Rachaad White. Guys, last year wasn't particularly good. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Like, he was mostly fantasy relevant because of pure volume. He wasn't particularly efficient. I don't think to the eye test. I think he's the third. I think he's the worst running back of those 3.
Yeah.
So, he's not somebody that they used a ton of draft capital on.
No.
Like, this is a team that wants to win the Super Bowl this year, that has legitimate playoff aspects. I mean, they're great. They're rolling.
And you just look at what Tucker brings to the pass game,
yeah.
And they have Bucky Irving already that brings that element to the pass game. It's just, we talk about this all the time, Jay. Last year, Rachaad White, he was fantasy relevant because of the volume. None of it was to do with efficiency. And Tucker and Irving look more efficient than him right now.
He was fantasy relevant because Dave Canales was obsessed with running for 3 yards on first down, time after time. Last year, the Bucs were 15th in pass rate over expected. This year, they're 3rd. They've modernized their offense. Rachaad White is very like 2023 Cam Akers-ish kind of vibes, where it's like, I was told that this guy had a stranglehold on the job and was going to get a ton of volume. It's, well, if he's not that good, then someone else can usurp him. So, yeah, I think that Tucker becomes super interesting. And I think that Rachaad White, like in terms of ceiling, he might be the 3rd now in this backfield.
By the way, I might try to we think Tucker is somebody worthy of picking up, but again, like we have him lower on the list because we think there's questions about how much playing time he'll get. I actually think Bucky Irving is an interesting buy low because for as much as Tucker had, this unbelievable game, he still only played 38% of the snaps, right? Bucky Irving was out there more, and I think that if you were trying to project snaps and touches going forward, Bucky Irving is the guy that you feel like the best about getting the majority of work in the near future for Tucker. Tucker had some really nice plays. He had the one big play, obviously, as well. Really nice player. Love him at Syracuse. Again, if we'd run him a little bit more in the second half, we'd have beaten Syracuse.
Clemson.
We'd have beaten Clemson, and Dino Babers might still have a job. Just saying. But serves him right, whatever. And you see the play here for Tucker wearing the 44, a legendary number in Syracuse as well. But I actually think Bucky Irving, because of all the hype around Sean Tucker, is kind of a buy low. I'll rank Bucky Irving higher than Sean Tucker this week.
Agreed. This Bucs offense, this is an offense you want to be buying shares in if you can get it. Because right now, like, they are an elite offense. And also, they have a brutal month coming up where I believe they play Baltimore Monday Night Football, then Falcons, Chiefs, Niners.
Correct.
After that, though, it gets real nice for the Bucs. And so the way this offense is playing, like, there is a chance that, Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving, one of these guys could be a league winner.
Again, Bucky Irving played 64% of the snaps. They got the same number of rush attempts. I get it. Sean Tucker had the big play. It was a goofy game. Yeah. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Sean Tucker. Love Sean Tucker. Go Cuse.
Yeah.
But Bucky Irving, I think, because of all the hype around Tucker, might be a little bit of a buy low opportunity.
Yet another rookie running back on our waivers list here, Isaac Guerendo against the Chiefs. He's available in 96% of leagues. Jordan Mason dealing with that shoulder injury. He did participate in Monday's practice with a non-contact jersey. So, Matthew, we really got to keep an eye on this one throughout the week. Also, it's no lock that Guerendo is the guy right away in this backfield, even if Mason is out.
After Jordan Mason went out with the injury, Patrick Taylor actually led the Niners backfield in snaps, and he got 4 of the 6 red zone touches. Patrick Taylor did. Now, again, Guerendo had that one big play, but played only 38% of the snaps. He ran only 2 routes. He's not somebody that's going to be used in the passing game as well. And if Jordan Mason isn't going to play this week and McCaffrey isn't back, which is not expecting, right? Then yes, you'll see some Guerendo, but you'll see some Patrick Taylor. You'll probably see a little bit more Kyle Juszczyk. They'll probably use Deebo Samuel in the backfield a little bit more. They'll get creative and they'll do a bunch of weird stuff. And so I would not go crazy trying to get Guerendo. One of the reasons why we have Sean Tucker ranked ahead of Guerendo, and I've seen a lot of people out there saying, oh, Guerendo should be the number 1 guy on the waiver wire, and I don't agree with that at all, because Sean Tucker has a chance at becoming the number 1 running back for the Buccaneers. Obviously, injury, if Rachaad White's injury is worse, but also because he just might be the best running back on that team. Again, I still have Irving over Tucker at the moment, but there's literally no scenario which Guerendo goes over Jordan Mason or McCaffrey other than injury. Like guys like Tucker, Jalen Warren, Ray Davis, Tyrone Tracy, they could legitimately take over their backfields just because they're better, not only because of injury opportunity. Guerendo has no shot at doing that other than just he's the only guy left. And if he's the only guy left, there's still going to be Taylor, Juszczyk, Deebo in the backfield.
Our last one here, Jay, Kimani Vidal, the rookie running back for the Chargers. He's available in 89% of leagues. You love the matchup against Arizona. He only had 4 carries for 11 yards, but of course he caught the big touchdown in this game.
He did, which is perhaps a little bit unsustainable. I mean, he played 19 snaps, which is an issue. J.K. Dobbins got 25 carries. Like, the idea that J.K. Dobbins is going to be nursed back in because of his injury history, no. Like, he's just a workhorse back, and he's a guy who I still, like, J.K. Dobbins easily could have had 140 rushing yards in that game, but because it was 25 for 96, perhaps didn't get the hype that it should have. So he would be the guy I'm trying to buy. Vidal, though, is clearly ahead of Hassan Haskins. It's the backup. Gus Edwards is on IR, and Dobbins does have an injury risk.
That's the point.
So that is where the upside
Gus Edwards is
from.
missing at least the next 3 games. There's an injury history with Dobbins, and so Vidal is a injury away from being the lead running back of one of the run-heaviest teams in the NFL. Just quickly on him from a college profile for people that may not be familiar with him, because he was a day 3 pick.
Yeah, very small, explosive runner, but somebody that I thought looked great in outside zone, and you want to get him in space in the pass game, which they did. You could see him run the wheel route. You could see him get down the sideline. So you're kind of hoping Vidal can become a Jalen Warren type of player. That's what I would be looking for.
And by the way, and there's a scenario where Gus Edwards, he overtakes some of the snaps, even when Gus Edwards comes back as well. Some deep league ads, some insurance running backs, if you will. Like Tyler Algier continues to get run and yet continues to be available in 70% of leagues. Like,
crazy.
He's getting double-digit work on a pretty good offense. Blake Corum, obviously, is the backup to Kyron. Jalen Wright, remember the Dolphins were on bye last week, but we don't know the status yet of Devon Achane, who was in the concussion protocol. Wright looked good last week with 86 yards, played 38% of the snaps after Devon Achane left. Dearness Johnson, I just want to mention as well. Travis Etienne week to week with a hamstring injury. Dearness Johnson would take the passing game role. They're not going to use Tank Bigsby in the passing game, and this is an offense, the Jaguars, they're going to have to be passing quite a bit. You see Pierre Strong and Emmanuel Wilson there as well, obviously backups. We should see Nick Chubb this week, and it's worth noting that Jonathan Brooks, they have opened up the practice window for Jonathan Brooks to return to the Panthers. What his role will be when he comes back, we're still waiting, but Jonathan Brooks at least on a practice field this week.
To recap your Week 7 running back waiver targets, Ty Chandler. He's got the Lions, 72% available. Keep an eye on Aaron Jones' status. Tyrone Tracy Jr. against the Eagles, 55% available. Ray Davis, Jalen Warren, Sean Tucker, Isaac Guerendo, depending on Jordan Mason, Kimani Vidal, See if he can carve out a role in this Chargers backfield. A lot of rookies on this list between Tracy, Davis, Guerendo, and Vidal.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.